Just quickly before the video begins, you might be asking, Justin, how did you switch from being lukewarm on Caenis to making her waifu tier in the span of just a couple of chapters of Olympus? Well, my friends, the answer is obvious.
I love the kind of woman that can kick my ass.
What's up, gang? Kawaii50 here with another fake Grand Order video, and it is time to talk about the servant arguably far more people are excited for from this first Olympus banner, this one being a 4-star. That servant, of course, being the long-awaited Caenis. Caenis, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. After seeing her a little bit in Olympus's story, I am sold. She is waifu material. She is ready to get some grails. But we are not here to talk about that. What we are here to talk about are the best allies, craft essences, and command codes to make Caenis a truly powerful part of your team. Don't get me wrong, I'll say it right from the jump. Caenis has a couple of issues, but we are going to do our best to try and go ahead and work around that, because I'm sure, just like me, a lot of players out there really want to use her, possibly even as their main Lancer in all content going forward. Hopefully, this video helps all of you out, and if it does, be sure to go ahead, like, and subscribe. Caenis has 2 quick, 1 arts, and 2 buster cards with an AoE buster Noble Phantasm, and that's unfortunately the first ouch that really ends up hurting Caenis' kit in more ways than one. Her max HP of 11,532 is solid, as is her max attack of 9,896. Her NP gains off her attacks are fairly solid at a 0.86, and with the ability to arts quick chain with those multiple hits, charging up her Noble Phantasm should be about an average ordeal for you. Her star absorption at 90 needs to be buffed up a little more. That's average for a Lancer, but we're going to look into changing that with some craft essences. Caenis' first skill is Monstrous Strength rank B+, and this differs from Kintoki's Monstrous Strength in that it lasts for 2 turns, and it's a 20 to 40% attack boost. This is Caenis' biggest attack boost, and you're going to want to go ahead and max this first, so you can try and get some devastating damage chains out of her normal cards. Second skill will open with a little bit of a PSA. This will be getting a buff in 2023, so please look forward to that. Initially, it's just Pillaging Spear, applying a buff that increases Caenis' attack for 1 turn when normal attacking. This is sort of similar to what Mori Nagayoshi has going on. Get a little bit of an attack boost when attacking with those normal cards. And on top of that, it also debuffs the enemy's attack by 10% when normal attacking. This buff and this debuff, of course, both stack. When this skill gets its own buff, though, man, I said that a lot, it is going to get some truly remarkable bonuses to it. For starters, Caenis will start to gain 5 to 15 critical stars every single turn for 3 turns, which is absolutely fantastic. And she'll also get a flat 20% boost to her own Noble Phantasm gauge. At this moment in time, I would definitely recommend you level up this skill last. It is your least priority skill in its unbuffed form. You got a little bit of leeway on this, gang. Don't worry about it too much. And Caenis' final skill is Poseidon's Blessing rank A, which is actually a pretty decent survival skill, all things considered. This gives Caenis 1 guts that lasts for 3 turns, and she'll come back with 1,000 to 3,000 HP. More importantly, it gives her 3 instances of a damage cut. You'll see 2,000 to 3,000 damage shaved off of each individual attack, and that's really helpful when it comes to survivability. You'll see that yourself when it comes to fighting some of the Olympus Lost Belt's more dangerous bosses. Safely go ahead and max this skill second to give Caenis a little bit of an extra boost in longer fights. I would recommend 2 of Caenis' append skills, the first being follow-up technique improvement. Caenis is a servant that relies mostly on their normal cards in order to get some serious damage value, so a little bit of an extra damage boost on those Brave Chains is going to be incredibly helpful. And of course, we've got the beloved mana loading. A starting NP gauge is good on absolutely every servant in the game. Don't let anybody tell you different. Caenis' Noble Phantasm is, unfortunately, AoE. This deals 300 to 500% damage to all enemies. It does have the nice boost of increasing Caenis' critical strength by 50% for 3 turns, and this activates before damage is dealt. It also gets a little bit of a boost to NP strength, granting Caenis a 10 to 30% damage boost on NP, depending on overcharge level. With this lasting for 3 turns, if you're able to charge this up enough, you might end up starting to see some decent damage out of it. As it stands though with this Noble Phantasm, mostly what you're going to be fishing for every single time you pull it off is that sweet 50% critical damage buff. That is easily the most valuable thing here. Now, who should we pair Caenis with in order to give her the biggest boost? Well, she is a Buster type servant, so you're going to be wanting servants like Merlin, for example, as the big boy, because you're likely going to be taking Caenis along to fight some bosses. You can, of course, use her as a farmer too, since she is an AoE Noble Phantasm, if you go ahead and bring along Koyanskaya, but odds are that's not going to be what you're mainly going to be focusing on. Of course, there are other servants beyond these two who are going to be big supporters for her, and let's go over some of those picks right now. Our first pick is of course Jason, because Caenis does have the Argonaut tag, which means she's going to get the full benefit of conquering the sea with friends, granting her an attack boost as well as an NP gauge charge, a critical strength boost, and a critical star drop rate boost. If you're really worried about team cost and you don't have anybody else to throw on your team, throwing Jason out there to get some early buffs on Caenis is going to be very helpful. Caesar is of course another sweet budget pick you can pair with Caenis because of his buffed Insight skill. This will give Caenis an extra 20 to 40% critical strength, increase her critical star drop rate, and this is just at the cost of reducing her defense. But odds are you're using another ally to buff her up anyways, to give her evades or something like that, so that's fine. If not, Caenis' third skill will help to mitigate some of that damage. An extra boost to attack and NP strength from Caesar isn't gonna hurt either. These next two are probably my biggest picks for supporters when it comes to Caenis, the first being Calamity Jane. Jane's third skill, Oh Polar Star Shine My Way, is incredible, and you're able to get a sizable amount of crit stars off of it if you give her a craft essence that generates crit stars the second she enters the battlefield. You're going to want to do that. It's the best way for her to support. Depending on how many crit stars you generate, Caenis can end up getting a critical strength boost, a star gather rate boost, an evade, an ignore invincibility, and a nice little steroid to the NP gauge. As long as you're able to at least get those first two buffs off, it's going to be incredibly beneficial. Of course, how can we mention swap-in supporters without mentioning Chiron? Chiron, the OG swap-in supporter that still remains relevant to this day in terms of the strategy. Go ahead and use this man's Eternal Dedication and Wisdom of the Divine Gift skills, and go ahead and swap him out as quickly as possible so he doesn't eat up all those critical stars. And you will have a Caenis that's able to come right out of the gate and inflict some serious pain. And finally, I definitely want to recommend Osakabe Hime. Osakabe Hime has received quite a few buffs to become a neat pseudo-quick slash buster support, and considering those are most of Caenis' cards, it's going to be incredibly helpful to pair them both together. Shiogami Technique can of course increase NP gauge, and Castle Apparition can decrease an enemy's defense while removing all of their buffs, allowing Caenis to get in there and start punching. For God's Divination, Hakuro is going to be the best skill bonus that you get off of Osakabe Hime, granting Caenis a solid critical strength boost that stacks with her own from her Noble Phantasm for 3 turns. Osakabe Hime's Noble Phantasm itself also isn't really anything to sneeze at, granting max HP, defense, and a boost to effectiveness from quick and buster cards. For Caenis' craft essences, you're going to want to go all in on critical strength. Critical strength is going to be the best way you're going to see her deal a bunch of damage. The Noble Phantasm in and of itself is kind of a red herring. Don't really bother investing in that. You'll start to see the numbers if you turn her into a crit monster. For the freebie craft essence, I can definitely recommend Bestia del Sol from Saber Wars 2, which grants quick card effectiveness, buster card effectiveness, and critical strength. Going beyond this, we really start to get into more of that higher level craft essence territory. My first pick is Hero on the Beach. This grants buster card effectiveness, critical strength, and a solid couple critical stars every single turn. After Caenis receives that buff to her second skill, you're going to start to see this stack more and more and get some pretty consistent crits out of this CE. You can also go ahead and give her Starry Nights, a craft essence I quite love, granting Buster Card effectiveness, critical strength, and a solid starting 50% NP gauge, allowing you to pop off Caenis' Noble Phantasm and get that critical strength buff from it that much faster. When it comes to what I would consider the ultimate craft essence, I have to consider something I've actually been using on Karna for a very, very long time to great effect, and that craft essence is Conversation on the Hot Sands. This is a pretty old one, but if you have it, you probably know just how powerful this thing is. This increases the servant's critical star gather rate and grants them a critical strength bonus. On Lancers, for example, servants that are just below that average star weight, Lancers, Sabers, not Archers, of course, but this helps give them the little extra boost they need to pull those stars from their supporters and really start to make their crits a lot more consistent. This is definitely an A+ craft essence. And although stat bonuses are in attack too, it's that much better. And finally, command codes. Again, with this, we are going to be going into face card damage and crits to try and maximize that effectiveness. If you still haven't used your Wedge of the Heavens, Caenis can actually be an excellent candidate for it. This increases the damage against all servants that are weak to Enuma Elish by 20%. And if you're wondering how effective that is, it's actually a lot faster to list the servants who aren't weak to Enuma Elish. Like, it's insane. There are so many servants that are going to take bonus damage from this. Upping the critical damage on her Buster cards is key outside of this, so look for things like Command Seal of a Cardinal-Minded Retainer, which is going to be your 3-star option, or if you happen to have a Mistress of the Heavens still laying around, now might be the time to break it out to grant that sweet 25% critical damage increased. Another great recommendation I can give you is Pestle of the Kleshus. This grants a 10% critical damage boost and also allows you to ignore the opponent's defense when attacking using the engraved card. These are just a couple examples. Pretty much any command code you can give Caenis that increases critical damage will do. Overall, gang, I really do think Caenis is a super cool servant, but her awkward kit unfortunately holds her back. That second skill definitely does need a buff, and I am very glad that it got it. But even after those buffs have been received, Caenis still has a glaring problem in that she does not have a single card effectiveness booster on any of her skills. Those card effectiveness boosters that you see from skills like Mana Burst, like Wisdom from the Divine Gift, those are crucial. Those are incredibly important, and servants that don't have them unfortunately get a little held back and really need to be carried by their supports in order to truly shine. So double Merlin is probably going to be a necessity when it comes to this. Also, when it comes to that Noble Phantasm, this is something I also lament. I really wish Caenis' Noble Phantasm was single target. If that was the case, we would have one of probably the strongest boss slayers to ever show up in FGO. With the right amount of support, you could probably easily nuke a boss in a single turn, but this is the world that we live in. So instead, let's go ahead and focus on what we know Caenis is good at, dealing that sweet critical damage, and try to go ahead and pump that up so she can wreak some havoc on the battlefield. Still getting grails though. Still getting grails from me, 100%. But of course, gang, I want to know what you all think, so let me know your thoughts about Caenis down in the comments section below. Let me know if there are any allies, craft essences, or command codes that you think would benefit this character the most. And if you're looking to talk about Caenis or really any other character from FGO, go ahead and check out my Discord server. Of course, I would also like to give a thank to the patrons on Patreon, the subscribers and followers over on Twitch, and of course all of you here on YouTube for giving me the strength to go ahead and put these videos out. I really do appreciate all of your support. Anyways, gang, this is Kawaii50. I hope you all have a phenomenal day. I'll see you all in the next video.